Call to order the Board of Public Works and Utilities. I currently have 4:01. Start with roll call. Mayor Kim Smith,
Here.
Alder Dan Stevens,
And present?
Jared Holter,
Here.
Sabrina Steger.
Here.
And myself, Alder Stephen Knott, is also present. Also with us in the chambers right now, we have Alder Larry Jurassic and both chiefs. Do we have anyone online of the elected officials?
No, you don't.
Yeah, and Dan Stevens also, and the city administrator. Okay,
Dan Wick, you mean
what did I say?
Dan Stevens?
Oh, Dan, yes.
I-
All right.
There's only one of me, so.
Dan
Except
Wick,
for
Dan
me
Wick.
doing all the wrong names.
Parks. All right, Parks and Rec. Okay, next, consideration and action on minutes from the previous meeting.
Move to approve.
Second.
Move to approve by Mayor Smith, seconded by Alder Stevens. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item number 3 is public input. Anyone wishing to speak will be limited to 3 minutes. Please identify yourself by name and address. Is there anyone here who would like to provide public input? Second call for public input. Anyone online?
No, there's not. If you,
Third and final call for public input. Public input is closed. Item number 4 is the 2025 capital improvements budget, starting with the public hearing on the capital improvements budget. At this time, I'd like to hear from anyone who would like to speak in support of the capital improvements budget. Second call for speaking in support of the capital improvements budget. Third and final call. That is closed. Anyone who would like to speak opposed to the capital improvements budget?
Alder Knott, I have one letter to read into the record, if I may.
Okay, sure.
This is addressed to Mr. Holter. This subject is a roundabout at Theater Road in PH. The letter states, I will not be able to attend the public meeting tonight at the Public Works meeting, but I would like to submit this email for consideration. I've lived on Gilster Street for 57 years. The street is right off of PH. I've seen the traffic increase every year. I have driven through the Theater Road PH intersection more times than I care to count. We have to go that way to get to many businesses. I've seen traffic back up both in Theater Road and PH because the traffic signal on Highway 16 is red. And since this is a very short block between PH and 16, it cannot handle very many cars. And then you have to turn into McDonald's and the Strip Shopping Center. I believe the purpose of the roundabout is to keep traffic flowing. So I guess my question and concern is that what happens when the light is on 16 is red? Traffic will back up on both Theater Road and PH. Traffic will not be able to get into the circle if they want to go to Prolly Center. Traffic turning off 16 will start backing up because they will not be able to get through the roundabout. What happens if a big truck gets stopped in the roundabout? Once again, traffic will come to a halt. I believe you'll be making a bad intersection a worse intersection, and traffic will not flow smoothly. Of course, with the shopping season starting, traffic will back up this intersection. Thank you, Larry Poya.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak opposed to the capital improvements budget? Second call. Third and final call to speak opposed. That is closed. Moving on to 4B, consideration, possible recommendations, possible action regarding the 2025 capital improvements budget. Jared.
Thank you. With no public input, given very little public input at the public input part of the proposed capital improvement budget, I guess we have a capital improvement budget in your packet tonight that does go through a variety of projects within the city and does goes about fixing a lot of different items within the city. The budgetary impacts are listed in there, so I guess with that, staff be opened up for questions.
I move that we approve the 2025 capital improvement budget as presented.
I'll second.
Motion to approve as presented by Mayor Smith, seconded by Alder Stevens. Any discussion? I'll just reference the concern on the roundabout. It's a valid concern. However, I also understand that we've done studies on this and have concluded that it will improve it. And this has been discussed in previous budgets as well, because we've already committed well into six figures on this at
Mhm.
this point in time already. So I still support that. Dan?
I believe I've been on the record in the past. I've intimated this exact same concerns that was stated in the letter. I go through that area almost on a daily basis, and especially at holiday times, it does get backed up, but I'm taking the word of our public work director and city engineer that it's not going to be a problem. We've had other roundabouts, specifically the one at Cooley Golf Bowl, that has been positive life change for the people in that area. So
Yeah.
I agree with the letter writer. I have trepidation, but I'm putting
Mhm.
my faith in Jared and crew. So
Yeah, and if I could too, I know when the Cooley Golf roundabout was going in, I actually was opposed to that myself. Now, I wasn't on this committee. I spoke at the public hearing that they had. And because I thought a traffic light would do better, and I thought it would back up because of the double intersection leading up to going up onto the highway. And I'm very happy that I was wrong. That I've only seen, out of all the years now it's been up there, a backup into that roundabout only 2 or 3 times. It's very rare. So just based off that as an experiment, which also was very close to a backup area, and the fact that it actually improved it, I just think this is the way to go.
yeah, my fingers are crossed that I'm
Yeah.
wrong as well,
Yeah,
but yes.
yeah. So, okay. Any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Right?
Opposed? Motion passes. We have a capital improvements budget.
Yay.
Okay, item number 5, change order number 2 for Onalaska Community Center project. This has a bunch of sub projects building up into one
Yeah.
final.
So this
Go
is
ahead.
change order number 2 for the community center project. I am going to turn this over to Kevin to go through individual items if you like. The total change order is for $82,033.38, of which when we approved the budget for this project, we did have a $363,000 contingency built in for some of these items. Kevin can go through the particulars if you want him to go through each item.
Well, before you get on discussion, let's make this legit, and I will go ahead and I'll move to approve the $82,033.38 increase for this change order, for
Uh,
several of these change orders.
No, 83.
The-
Eight-
What's the next?
82
Yeah, 82.
thousand $33.38
Oh, I thought you said, okay.
for change order
heard
number
wrong.
2.
No, $82,033.38.
Sorry.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Do we want to hear individual, is there concerns about individual items?
They're all in there.
Okay, hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Item number 6, reimbursement for the water main installation as part of the Eagle Crest North project. I'll turn this back over to Jared.
Thank you. On page 39 of your packet tonight, there is a map outlining the Eagle Crest North addition that is being put on along Mason Street. In that project, they are connecting to the water main in 3 locations. They're connecting onto the water main that's currently stubbed out from the First Free Church. And then they are connecting on to the water main on the east side of their building. And then we are making them connect on for the Abbey Road Apartments, which is along Abbey Road. These are all large structures, all very, very high value structures. So we did make them loop the water main, but we actually had them install a third loop. So we have a third connection for redundancy, fire safety, and distribution of water within our water system. So as part of that, the capital improvements budget for 2024 did include a reimbursement of that cost for that third leg of water main. In your packet tonight on page 38, you can see a breakdown of their cost for installing that water main was a total of $42,090. That cost does seem to be within realm of what we're seeing for bid prices currently. We did have budgeted $35,000 for this, and we told the developer that we were only going to reimburse up to $35,000. So it is staff's recommendation to reimburse the $35,000 for the water main installation.
I move that we move forward with reimbursing the $35,000 for the water main installation.
I'll second.
Motion to approve $35,000 reimbursement by Mayor Smith, and it was seconded by Sabrina Steger. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes. Item number 7, well number 8, cleaning and inspection. Back to Jared.
Thank you. In your pack tonight, we do have 2 quotes for well number 8 cleaning and inspection. We are recommending municipal well and pump to perform this work for an amount of $20,438 for the base cost. Once we do remove the pump from the well column, we will have other costs that will be done. We're estimating those at about $10,000, so we will approve those once we get the pump out, get inspected, see whether there's more column pipe that need to be put in, pump maintenance, things like that. But right now, we're looking for, and staff is recommending municipal well and pump perform the initial work at $20,438, and this was included in the approved 2025 operating budget for the water utility.
I move that we approve the cleaning and inspection as described for well number 8.
Second.
Motion to approve by Mayor Smith, seconded by Dan Stevens. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Item number 8 is proposed artwork installation by the Onalaska Art Keepers on the right-of-way at Second Avenue and Second Avenue Southwest. So I guess go to you again?
Yeah, I'll start it off. On page 49 of your pack tonight, there is a request from the Onalaska Art Keepers to install a piece of artwork on the right-of-way at Second Avenue Southwest and Second Avenue. On page 48, there is a drawing with a red circle on that drawing depicting approximately where that artwork would be. The submittal also has a drawing that has some more specific dimensions, but the red circle is within a city right-of-way that we maintain and own. It's kind of looked at as kind of a pocket park right now. There is a control cabinet in there for some street lighting and some various bushes and flowers and things that are in there. So I guess with that, I know we've got representatives from the Onalaska Art Keepers in the meeting audience tonight. If we got specific questions, we could probably ask one of them. They'd come up and could answer them.
Well, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the installation of the artwork at the intersection of Second Avenue and Second Avenue Southwest on the right of way.
I'll second.
Motion to approve by Jared, seconded by Smith. Discussion. Yes, Dan.
Thank you, Chair. First, I will probably need to abstain from this vote, but before I do, I would like to give a little background and feedback. I was the founding president of the Onalaska Art Keepers. I've since timed out, but I'm still a director. We do have in the audience we have, I see Joyce has came in. We do have the sculptor Luke Ochtenberg. Luke lives in Onalaska, but he does have sculptures all over the country. He's actually fairly well accomplished. And then we have our artistic director, Joyce Stively, that could answer other questions. I know that Luke is here and he said he could answer questions. I believe he has a little knock-up, but there is also a picture in the packet. And I would just like to stress the history of the Onalaska Art Keepers and the impact that it's had towards Onalaska. Some of the first, they had their hands on the sculpture at the end of Main Street. They work together with artists, businesses, and schools and other organizations to have pop-up Onalaska, where there's art all over the city. They produce festivals at Pumpkin on a Pint that has been a benefit to the city. We have the crane mural right outside City Hall that was donated by the Onalaska Art Keepers. Onalaska Art Keepers had paid for the mural at Main Street at the Big River Canine Grooming Building. And then, of course, the mural at Head Start. We have the musical display at Great River Landing. We have the Rockin' Sunfish and the Butterfly Project that we did, which was part of the Mayor's Challenge. I may be forgetting a few, but really none of this has cost the city anything. And all of it, I would argue, has had a very strong impact in building a more vibrant Onalaska and improving the livability of our city. We, as a city, should continue to encourage our local volunteer organizations to keep promoting and improving that livability of the city. So, like I said, I can't vote for it, but I would encourage, if anybody has any questions, they should talk to Luke. He's kind of the real deal. So, thank you.
I have questions under the proposal. When I read the letter, I'm not real clear. It talks about how, we're going to, if this is approved, there'll be a base installed. So basically that'll be permanent. I assuming that'll be concrete of some kind. I don't know.
When I talked to the sculptor or the art keepers, they did say they're bringing in a limestone base that would not be attached to the ground. The weight of the piece of limestone would keep it down. They'd attach the art to it. So there'd be nothing in the ground for
Okay.
this.
Well, I'd have to somehow make sure it doesn't settle by putting something underneath there, right?
I think with our sand and that, if it's wide enough in a base, I think it would be fine.
And then next thing is, it talks about that this would be a temporary place for 1-year lease. At the end of the 1-year lease, there'll have to be a decision whether to extend the lease or purchase the sculpture or end the lease. So who is paying for the lease? Who would be paying to purchase it? And how much would that all be if it's going to be on the city? And of course, I assume it's on the city to maintain it.
Would you me to answer that, or would you like one of the representatives?
I think we'll go to.
Well, I have
Joyce.
Joyce come up and that was my question too, is the first year's lease, who is assuming the cost of the lease in the first year? Oh,
Oh, thank you.
Sorry.
Is it on now?
yep, there you go.
Joyce Stively, 711 Pleasant Court, Onalaska. No, Onalaska Art Keepers will pay for the lease. Onalaska Art Keepers will pay to have the piece of limestone put in. It's also very similar to the limestone that's all through Dash Park. It'd be a big chunk like that. We're working with Bison Stone out of Winona to make sure it's size, so there is no, I mean, it's going to weigh like 6,000 to 7,000 pounds, so it's not going to fall over or anything. So what we will do is put the sculpture in for the first year. It's a rather avant-garde sculpture for what, typically, a lot of people see around the city, but we felt we should really honor Luke's talents because he is a local. And we will pay for the lease and pay for the stone and pay for the install. At the end, should the, we decide we're not going to continue that lease, he wants to take it somewhere else, we want to lease something else, this would be on Onalaska Art Keepers. I don't think there will be any upkeep for at least the year, and really, like even the sculpture at the end of the road, there's been no upkeep on that, One of the reasons we're doing this is I've been talking to a local philanthropist who is interested in doing a series of small pocket sculpture parks around the city. And this would be kind of our testing the waters a little bit to see how this goes. So it would just, obviously if we don't continue it, we'd have to have the guy come get the piece of limestone and take it out of there and resod it or whatever. But the cost will be to Onalaska Art Keepers. And if we purchase it, it will be Onalaska Art Keepers that will purchase it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mayor.
And we would grace it then to the city or gift it to the city.
I think it sounds like a great idea for us to try something different.
Yeah.
Where it's not a lifelong marriage, we
Right.
can try it and we can try something different or, we can try it and love it and
Yeah.
keep it, I think it's a great idea. I like it. Thank you.
Okay. I was just going to say, oh, shoot, now it doesn't come.
Oh, sorry.
It comes back to me. I'll have to come back up.
I have another question too, I guess. If memory serves, didn't we create a art review board within the city? And has this gone before it?
That would be a Jared question because it's a staff board.
Well, actually, it was
No.
Katie and Amanda that were working with Dan Dan here, yeah, working on a public art board, you know, like a guidelines or whatever, and I don't think they've finished that. I know a lot of the information that was collected from when they did the big survey was that more people wanted to see more public art. They also thought that the city should fund some of it, but we'll see about that. So, you know, for now, we're happy if we can just do the project and, you know, go in that direction. I also would like to talk, and I think, oh, I know what I was going to say. So the other thing is we'd hope to do this yet this winter, but with the frost going in the ground so deep, I don't, because it's going to have to be leveled a little bit. I don't think we're going to get to it till spring. So if there's anything that comes up in the meantime, we will still have some time to, you know, discuss or whatever. So.
Okay, so it did not go before that board because they don't have their processes complete yet. Is that what I'm understanding?
So I would say that it would be contingent upon the art board review and legal review would be the two things that I would
Make a contingent on that.
contingent
Add
upon.
that as an, I'd like to amend that motion, or I'm not sure who made it, but I'll make an amendment that will need a legal and
Art review.
art board review.
Okay.
I'll second that.
I have a question. Was the point of the art board, did that not have more to do with paintings and murals?
I think it was all art.
If that were the case, I thought there was a funding mechanism tied with that, and I think what is being proposed does not require city funding.
Yeah, Dan, I'm sorry.
My understanding is that there's a mural review board, but I don't believe that the art one, that's still the policy that's been under consideration and discussion by the city. I don't believe that that has been passed, so there wouldn't be that art board that would be review. But I believe there's a mural one is my understanding.
So we have not passed one. I know we've discussed it.
Well, we'll need to have a legal review just
Okay.
because of like height. Like one thing, just looking at it, like I will know that the height couldn't be so tall that if it tipped over, it couldn't fall onto the road or the sidewalk. And there's just some legal things
Yeah.
like that that will need to be fleshed out.
Great River Trail goes right by that too, if I remember right. Yeah.
No, it's not near the Great River Trail.
No? All
I
right.
don't think, no.
It's on Second Avenue.
That's right. That's one over. Got it. Yeah.
Can I ask a question? I was of the understanding that the art, and maybe this is off subject, but that the art thing that Dan and Amanda and Katie were putting together was so that we didn't have to come do this every single time.
No.
You know, so there would be like a parameter of information that would say, as long as you meet this information, you wouldn't have to come every time before the Board of Public Works to get
Yeah.
everything approved.
I
Is
mean,
that-
probably Rick would be the good, perfect person to ask that question
Okay.
to. He's the city administrator.
Okay, yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was my understanding too, as long as it didn't come with a cost, that this would be approved through a board.
Correct. The policy would set parameters where the team would review it and could potentially approve it. If it went outside certain parameters, then would need to come for approval, correct?
Yeah, or had a budget.
Under its
impact.
current draft form, I should say.
Yeah, or had a budget impact too, I believe.
Say that again.
Or if it had a budget impact, it would have to come to
Correct.
us too. Yeah.
So-
Yes.
So there is a draft form already? Okay,
Correct. It's been under discussion with the council once or twice before,
Okay.
and it'll come back eventually at some point.
okay.
With that board not being in place.
And it has to come to us. It's
yeah,
not effective yet.
It's at the right venue, and I think.
I think so
This
too.
board can make that decision.
I think so too. Yeah. My understanding was that we had actually approved something. I guess it's still under draft. So, okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Any other discussions or questions?
Did
Chair.
we have an amendment that we should,
Just for legal review.
yeah, for legal, okay.
But I just made the-
Alder
I-
Wolf wants to,
Alder Wolf wants, okay.
Well, I asked for an amendment and it didn't get a second. Was that
Yes,
in-
it did.
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
Okay, okay, just checking.
Alder Wolf, are you still on?
Yes, I am.
Go ahead.
Thank you. So I just have, first of all, I think it's a great proposal. I support it wholeheartedly, as long as it obviously passes legal. You have answered my question about the lease. I think, so Jared, I would assume that there's not a concern about the vision triangle, correct?
No, because actually they'll be back off the sidewalk, the plantings and trees, I think, are in a way more so than the sculpture will be.
Okay, and let me see if there was something else. And I did, what Mayor Kim mentioned about the height of it. That would be my only concern, but no, I think it's a great project coming forth, and I look forward to it come into council next week, for hopefully the passage. Thank you.
Okay, and if there's anything else,
I'll have to
Then
vote on
I-
the amendment.
well, I'd like to hear from the artist since he's here and just hear about what his concept is and, you know, his inspiration for why he's doing what he's doing. I think it'd be great. He's here. So
Oh, welcome.
just again, if you could identify your name and address, that's all.
Son. Hi, I'm Luke Ockerberg, 308 14th Avenue North here in Onalaska. I've went to UWL, also went to Western, and also Master of Fine Art from the University of Kentucky in sculpture. And since 2009, I've applied and been invited to cities all over the country to display long-term artworks as well as permanent artworks, sculptures in particular. I actually just got back from Rosemary Beach, Florida, in the Panhandle, installed a sculpture there as well. So all of the work that I do is about visual calligraphy and stylized letters and pinstriping and automotive culture and things of that nature. So those are the things that kind of drive my work. And I am a certified state of Wisconsin welder, worked at Mid-City Steel for a while, fabricating Island Girls, if anybody remembers those boats. So that's a little bit about me. Moved back here to be around family about 6 years ago and have been asking anybody that will listen to, hey, what about public sculpture in public places that I've been doing for 15 years? And it's gaining some traction. So I appreciate you guys considering it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Uh,
Yes, Dan.
Have, with the concern of the sculptures potentially falling over, could you talk about like how it's anchored on, in this case, the limestone, and is falling sculptures ever been a problem? How many sculptures do you have placed or have placed throughout the country? Maybe that would give the board more comfort knowing that it's
I did
what sort of a
supply-
hazard risk it is.
I did supply a resume that goes back 15 years of pieces that had been all over the place. Actually, the sculpture that I proposed for this location started its life at Skokie North Shore Sculpture Park in Chicago. It was there for 2 years. After that, Purdue University Northwest. After that, West Virginia University for a couple of years. And I just picked it up from Vincennes University in Indiana, where it was there for a couple of years. I've never personally had a sculpture fall over. I know that during extreme weather events, certain sculptures have fallen over of my peers, my colleagues. As far as the ballast system for this sculpture, I think that the ballast weight of 6,000 pounds is completely sufficient. I have a sculpture in Sioux Falls right now that's about the same size and parameters, and it is secured to a 4,000 pound block of granite. I haven't got a phone call from them yet, but that's also the reason why I carry $1 million policy for liability insurance. I will take that idea of it not falling into the roadway into consideration, and perhaps we'll move the block back a foot or two. Right now, it's proposed to be 4 feet off the sidewalk. Perhaps we go 6 feet off the sidewalk, in which case there'll be no way that it could fall into traffic. Does that answer your question completely?
It's all good info. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mayor.
What was your inspiration for the sculpture? I didn't realize it had a history behind it.
I started out with the letter C, and all of the sculptures, the title of the first letter in the title of the sculpture is a reference to the calligraphy letter that I started with before I started highly stylizing it, and also calibration. Caliper is a mechanical device used by machinists in order to calibrate what size metal they're machining metal down to. So you'll kind of see that little C thing going on, and in my head, I imagine myself calibrating myself against other sculptors at a national level, I suppose.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Myself into it.
Anyone else? Okay, first we'll vote on the amendment to have this pass legal. All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Motion passes. And the next
Put me in the record as an abstention, please.
extension, Roger. Okay. And then next we'll vote on the original amendment to approve, or excuse me, the original motion to approve. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? And another abstain. Okay, so that has passed. Moving on, we now have item number 9, which is pay estimates. You have
We are going to hand out a new estimate sheet. We did have invoices from Strand Associates come in after the early submittal of the, due to the Thanksgiving holiday, there was an early submittal date for the agenda, so we did add,
5 items.
Yep.
Okay. So you should, it's a total of 11 items.
I'll move to approve the pay estimates dated December 3rd with 11 items.
I'll second.
Motion to approve by Mayor Smith, seconded by Alder Stevens. Any discussion?
Jared, is there anything unusual listed here?
no, all the estimates are within what the projects are. We have a rather large estimate for the community center in the packet tonight, but that's expected. There's a lot of work going on over there, structural work and things that are moving along. Other than that, it's mainly project estimates and consulting engineering work being done.
Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. And now move on to the utilities. Item number 10, there is no report, which brings us to number 11, adjournment.
Move that we adjourn.
Second.
Move to adjourn by Alder Stevens, seconded by Sabrina Steger. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Time is 4:32.